Jesus once told a story about 3 investors. 2 of them doubled their money, 100% return. The third investor did something most people consider responsible. He protected the capital. No risk, no loss. And Jesus called him wicked. Not because he stole, not because he gambled it away, but because he did nothing with it. That is a strange thing for a religious teacher like Jesus to say. You see, most people assume that Jesus was anti-money, that faith and finances don't mix. But nearly a third of his parables deals with money, wages, debt, or investment. As a matter of fact, he talked more about money than any other topic. And when you look closely at these teachings, you discover 5 powerful principles about money hidden inside them that most people completely miss. Let's start with number 1. Money has limits. Jesus told a story about a man whose farm produced so much that his barns couldn't hold the harvest. So he made what seemed like a smart decision. Tear down the barns, build bigger ones. More storage, more security. That night, God called him a fool, and his life was demanded of him. The problem wasn't his wealth. The problem was his assumption that money could secure his future. Maybe you felt this yourself, or you probably know someone who reaches a financial milestone and expects to finally feel safe. And then nothing changes inside. The anxiety doesn't leave. The restlessness remains. And that is what is called in psychology the arrival fallacy. That is exactly what this parable describes. There is something about money. It works extremely well in some areas. It can buy you comfort. It can buy you convenience. It solves many problems. But money has limits. It can't buy you time. It can't buy you purpose. It can't buy you life. The man in the story optimized for storage. He never asked the deeper question. What is wealth actually for? Something else just taught is this. Wealth should create value for others. Jesus constantly connected money with impact on other people. One day he watched wealthy people giving large donations. Then a widow came and dropped 2 small coins into the offering basket. And Jesus said the widow had given more than everyone else. Not because of the amount, but because of the sacrifice. In his framework, value wasn't measured by size. It was measured by intention. You see, money becomes meaningful when it moves through you, not when it stops with you. Wealth that only accumulates eventually loses its purpose. But wealth that creates value for others multiplies its meaning. Number 3, money is a tool, not a master. Jesus gave one of the clearest warnings about money ever spoken. You cannot serve God and money. Notice what he didn't say. He didn't say you can't have money. He said you can't serve money. Money is a powerful tool, but tools become dangerous when they become masters. And here is how you know it is happening. You start making decisions based on what is profitable instead of what is right. You stay in situations that drains your energy because money is good. You start measuring people's value, including yourself, by your net worth. When money becomes the thing you chase, fear, and obey, it stops being a useful tool. It becomes an idol. And idols always demand everything. Jesus wasn't against wealth. He was against allegiance to wealth. The difference between owning money and being owned by it isn't the amount in your account. It is whether you could walk away from it. Now, here is where things get interesting. The next 2 principles might challenge what you have been taught about money, even by financial advisors. Wealth is a stewardship. A pattern runs through nearly all of Jesus' financial parables. The money never belongs to the servant. It belongs to the master. In several stories, servants are entrusted with their master's resources. The job is very simple. Use it wisely, multiply it, and eventually to give an account of how they handled the resources. This reframes everything. If wealth is not yours, if it is entrusted energy, then the question changes. Question now becomes, how well am I managing what I have been given? Think of wealth like a stored energy. It represents time, effort, knowledge, and opportunity. When that energy is deployed wisely, it multiplies. When the same energy sits idle, potential disappears. Money should work for you. In the parable of the talents, one servant received 5 talents. The Bible says he went at once and put the money to work, and he made 5 more. Notice something interesting. He didn't go to work for money. He put money to work. And the difference is huge. Jesus never praised people for working endlessly for money. He praised people for making money productive. Most people trade their lives for income, but capital can create value without consuming your life. Human time is too valuable to sell endlessly. Money should become your servant, not your employer. The servant who buried the money failed to understand this. He protected capital but destroyed its potential. Safety became waste. Jesus talked about money constantly, not because he was a financial advisor, but because money reveals the human heart. What you do with money shows what you believe, not what you say on Sunday, not what you post online, but what you do when no one is watching. The man who buried his talent thought he was being responsible, and Jesus called him wicked. And that word should bother you, because most of us are closer to the servant who buried the talent than we would like to admit, sitting on potential, protecting comfort, and calling it wisdom. And something else worth noting in these teachings of Jesus is that Jesus never divided people into rich and poor. He divided them into faithful stewards and careless ones. The real question was never, how much money do you have? The real question is your money working for your purpose? Or are you working for your money? This channel explores hidden wisdom inside the Bible that most people overlook. If that is something that interests you, subscribe. We're just getting started.